the nice thing is every time something like that happens, like with Samourai, CoinJoin, and so on, you come up with new protocols and stuff. So Super Testnet has this new protocol that does not require a server, but lets you do decentralized CoinJoin. At that point, no one's a money transmitter. There's nobody to go arrest. I mean, you can maybe try to arrest the guy that's making the code or something, but I mean, that's what are you going to arrest him on?
Bitcoin is often compared to the internet, and it's said that we're still at the beginning in terms of adoption and growth. However, similar to how the internet evolved from the Wild West kind of to a surveillance medium, I wonder if Bitcoin will also develop in this way towards less privacy and more surveillance. How do you see that?
Yeah, I don't see the centralizing effects on Bitcoin as we had on the internet.
You do?
No, I don't. Because with the internet, you had, the original design was everyone had to run their own servers, and it was supposed to be a decentralized architecture, but people didn't want to run their own servers, and they ended up outsourcing a lot of the data to centralized players like Facebook and Google. That's really where a lot of the privacy loss happened. Now, Bitcoin is very different in the sense that you can, try to track people and so on, but it takes a lot of effort. And there is sort of this native idea of holding your own coins, and for a good reason. People want to steal money, whereas, data, it's kind of valuable, but it's not necessarily worth stealing, because once it's stolen, it's just sort of out there. So, Bitcoin has scarcity, so it has different dynamics. So for that reason, I think people will want to hold it and possess it themselves, or at least develop tools that at least have some degree of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you've probably heard about Samourai Wallet, and through events like the arrest of the Samourai Wallet founders, discontinuation of the Wasabi CoinJoin, Phoenix retreating from the US. I think we could see that things can move pretty quickly if the government puts pressure on things. Are there positive developments in terms of privacy protection that can counter these events and demonstrate significant progress?
Well, so we did a panel on this yesterday. I don't know if you were around, but it was Industry Day, and this was the panel that I moderated, talking about sort of developer attack vectors, and in particular, privacy around developers is not that strong. It's very difficult because you need collaboration and things like that. And
what do you mean with around developers?
Yeah, so Samourai Wallet developers tried to be pseudonymous, but the Department of Justice was able to figure out who they were and so on. In large part because they show up to conferences, they have to buy plane tickets and things like that. It's not that hard. And this is where trying to figure out, okay, how do we protect our developers, right? Because they're the ones that are getting attacked right now. They're sort of like the points of failure that we have, and there are lots of ways in which they can get doxxed and so on. But I think the conclusion we came to was that you need to sort of take the moral high ground there, right? Make it clear that what these developers are doing is a good thing and not a bad thing. Because the way the government works is that they can't really arrest you unless they can convince the public that you're a bad person. But if you have the moral high ground, then it changes the equation. Now you look like you're you're a martyr or something, and that the government is the bad people. Now, that's true on its face, right? They generally wield power sort of in ways that are very authoritarian and evil and so on. But this is the PR battle, I think, that we have to fight. And I think that's the right vector to sort of protect developers' privacy and things like that. Encourage a little more pseudonymity. But not complete pseudonymity, because that makes it very difficult to actually do work. And that's just a reality of how human beings work. So, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean also in privacy for the users. So we had CoinJoin, and all of a sudden, do we have any alternatives? Like the government does one step, and then is there anything left?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, the nice thing is every time something like that happens, like with Samourai, CoinJoin, and so on, you come up with new protocols and stuff. So Super Testnet has this new protocol that does not require a server, but lets you do decentralized CoinJoin. At that point, no one's a money transmitter. There's nobody to go arrest. I mean, you can maybe try to arrest the guy that's making the code or something, but I mean, that's like, what are you going to arrest him on? And how are you going to say that he's evil, right? Like that makes it, difficult. So there are technologies, there's other stuff, Fedi and, any sort of eCash system has significant privacy. Liquid has a lot of privacy. Even like Lightning, submarine swaps have significant privacy. Those are all good things, and people should use them to the best of their ability if they don't want to get trapped.
What do you think? Is privacy important for you?
Yeah, I mean, privacy. So the argument that I've heard that's pretty convincing is that privacy. When you lose privacy, you lose security, and ultimately this is the thing that Bitcoin was made for, is for securing your own stuff. And as soon as you're doxxed, if you're public, if people know about you, you have an attack surface that attackers can get at. So privacy is important just from a very basic security perspective. Also, I just don't like people knowing everything. Like, and it's like, it's none of your business. Why are you trying to do that? I mean, I think the default should be privacy, and it was for a long time. It's only more recently that, you have this situation where people, think you don't have a right to privacy, or that the state is in charge, or they own your data or something, which is an absolutely indefensible sort of stance in my view.
Yeah, I've spoken to miners, kind of different subject, who see clear potential for centralization through mining pools, which could lead to transaction censorship. How do you assess this? Is that a big risk?
I don't think so. I think the market will always find a way to do otherwise. If you're particularly concerned, there will be pools that are, Stratum 2 or whatever, that make it very reasonable for people to mine their own stuff, or their own templates or whatever. I really don't think it's like the market's very good at coming up with stuff to counter whatever vulnerabilities people perceive. And it's kind of like okay, well, if the government keeps punching you, you have to like sort of stand there. No, you can keep moving, right? Like, and dodge and do other stuff. And that's, I think, the place where we'll be. Yeah.
It's going to remain kind of a cat and mouse game, and
I mean, whatever vulnerability, centralization points there are, they'll get removed. And, the government can keep coming until you have the moral high ground, at which point I think you win. Yeah.
When everyone has skin in the game and operates within the same Bitcoin bubble like we probably do, it's easy to get caught up in things. Sometimes I feel there are like even cult-like aspects within the Bitcoin community. Has our community not become too comfortable, and are we still critical and resilient enough when it comes to protecting and carrying forward the unique properties of Bitcoin?
I think those have been protected fantastically the last 7 years or so. I mean, if anything,
no worries from your side.
No, I mean, like the fact that we argue about any minor change, like to death, I mean, tells you all you need to know. Like, nothing is getting into Bitcoin that, like, it doesn't have like very, very high percentage of the community supporting it. So, yeah, I don't think we're under any like attack, or we're not vulnerable to attack in those terms and so on. So I think we'll be okay. Yeah, I'm optimistic.
Very good. And are there any challenges that you think we really have to conquer? And
I mean, we obviously have like governments starting to come after us right now, but I do that as a good thing. We are going to need to face them at some point anyway, and once we do face off against an adversary and win, I like historically speaking, that's when Bitcoin tends to shoot up like significantly. So like that's good for price. You should be praying for like sort of like these destabilizing events that like sort of that Bitcoin can survive through and grow stronger on. So, yeah.
And what are the most positive things in your view with regards to the Bitcoin development? What you're looking forward to the most?
I mean, I still don't think we really have, done everything that we could with Taproot. I mean, we're still sort of like playing with it. You know, there's stuff like BitVM and a lot around Schnorr signatures, Frost, and things like that. I think they can add significant security and come up with new wallet designs and stuff like that. I'd like to see more of that develop because, I mean, we triggered that stuff years ago, and it's still not really deeply used because people are still like a few years behind, and the software is a few years behind, and so on.
Great. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.